So, do you know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is the AFC Championship game between the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. Yes, my team. Been my team since a long time, right? Drew Bledsoe, my guy. Yes, Drew Bledsoe. Yes. At any rate, Tom Brady's my man too. So, here's the deal. I have friends, and the friends that I have, I like to cook for. Now, they're Peyton Manning fans. Not a big deal for me. In fact, I'm a huge not Peyton Manning fan. So what I'm going to do, because I like to cook for them, and I like to cook for friends, and this is Ye Olde and Drunken Kitchen, is we are going to make some New England Clam Chowder. And here's how we're going to do it. Alright, so I've gotten all of the ingredients for this first part together. The first part, the most important part, is going to be, well, I mean, let's be honest here. You know, Ye Olden part. And unfortunately, I don't have a correct glass for this. I'm totally going to get judged. I'm going to have to use a mobile coffee mug. This is so not okay. I am now pouring a beer. Alright, now the beer that I'm choosing to use is a Saison Diego. Okay, this is a nice light ale. Why? Well, because back in the day, ye olden days, if you will, this would be kind of akin to like a farmer's beer, alright? Which you would find, OBS, if you will, OBVS, down on the farm. It's got a nice light flavor to it. It is rather effervescent. Okay, we got the most important part out here now, and that's the beer. This is going to serve as our foundation for when we start to put all the ingredients together. Now, why am I going through all this trouble for a chowder? I'm going to tell you why in a second. Now, in the background here, you notice that we have celery and onions. In addition to that, we also have Old Bay seasoning. Here's why. It's because we have boiled baby clams. Unfortunately, I don't live in New England. I live in Iowa. So what we have to do is we have to make some compromises. Ordinarily, I would use fresh clams, but because, like I said, I live in Iowa, we need to make some compromises. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little flavor to these clams, and we're going to season them up first. Okay, we're going to boil them up in the beer along with the onions and the celery that we're going to reduce down first. We're going to add to the clams to them afterwards. We're going to let that simmer on low heat after it's come to a boil, because we don't want the clams to get tough. Alright? And this is kind of our setup there. We're going to pour that beer in here because we want that beer to ourselves. Okay? And the we don't want to lose it either. And we're only going to want the equivalent of about one beer. There, we're going to pour in. Look at how effervescent that is. My goodness. And then we're going to keep the rest to ourselves. Pour it back. Beer there going on there. Okay. Good. I went ahead and I placed the concoction of the farmer's beer that we have here, along with the celery, the onions, and a teaspoon and a half of Old Bay seasoning into this soup pot here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put that on about medium high. Okay? And then we are going to go ahead, cover it up. See, it's got that nice little hole there, and that's going to let any residual steam come out. You're going to want to keep it. You're going to want to keep an eye on it though, because remember, it is alcoholic. So what's going to end up happening, of course, is it will boil faster than the water. The salt as well has helped lower that boiling point. So keep an eye on it. Okay, so here's the deal. After about 5 minutes, it's going to start getting very fragrant in your kitchen, and it's going to be a fantastic smell because this has happened. Now, actually, I turned the heat down a little once it started to get really fragrant in here because it started to boil. So I turned the heat down to medium-low, as you can see there. Now we got this just kind of nice simmering going on. I'm going to let that go for a little longer. I'm going to let some more of that alcohol just kind of just boil out of there. And I'll come back to it in a little while because we have a lot of clams to add to it. And I'm going to give you a little hint about the clams in just a second. A note about clams. So here's the deal. Because I did say that we got them out of a can, I'm sorry, you do just need to recognize that we had to rinse them off. It's no big deal. Just make sure that you do it because otherwise you might end up with some shells in your chowder and then that's just really uncomfortable and there's shells in your stomach and it just doesn't feel very good. So go ahead, rinse them off, use cold water only. Okay? Okay, so here we are. It is about, let's see, half an hour has gone by since we put those clams on simmer in the back. Now we're going to take quick inventory of step 2. We have Lawry seasoning salt. We have a cup of half and half, a cup of heavy whipping cream, a cup of a dry white wine, we'll talk about that in a second, a cup of clam juice. We have our concoction in the back on medium-low heat, and that's simmering. We have 5, let's say, small to medium Yukon Gold potatoes. In the pot, ready to melt, we have 4 tablespoons of butter. We have 2 small stalks of celery. And finally, we have American air-cured, salt-cured Applewood smoked prosciutto. Okay? I'm going to put all those together in a second. When you're selecting a wine to use for your New England clam chowder, you want to make sure that you're going to use something that has a bit of space in the middle of the palate. In this case, I used one that is reminiscent of something that you would have found on, say, Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, around the time of, say, 1850, which is kind of what I'm shooting for here, a little bit of a Herman Melville tribute, if you will. It's a Domaine de Lawry. It's a Muscata. It is French. Sorry, I just totally butchered that. I am going to type it out for you, though, just because I'm that way. It has a lot of space in the middle of the palate, though, which will really be able to accommodate that tanginess of the clam as well as the saltiness of the brine that we have prepared. So that's what you're going to be looking for when you select a wine. And you can speak to your sommelier whenever you go out to select your wine for your chowder. Now what we've done is we have added wine there. Let's see, pan back there. We've added the wine to the softening celery, and you want to make sure you're going to know when to add that wine. As soon as you start to see your celery start to change color, you're going to want to add that wine. And what do you do as soon as you add that wine? Well, if you haven't finished your beer yet, you go ahead and you raise your glass. And you go and you finish your beer. The other thing you want to make sure that you do is you do your dishes. So keep up on your dishes, which is what I'm going to do now. You're going to let that simmer for about 5 minutes. Let the alcohol boil out of it. I know, no fun, right? But that's why you have your glass of wine. And you're going to drink your glass of wine once you do your dishes. And the alcohol boils out. And then I'm going to tell you what else. Okay, so see how that's going quite well at this point? Everything's coming together pretty well. What we do now is we add our 1 cup clam juice. Clam juice. You go ahead. Just kind of give a little stir because I totally have OCD and I just like to watch everything kind of go together there. Then we're going to let it come to a boil. And as soon as it does, we're going to cover it up and we're going to reduce the heat to a simmer. Okay? I'll let you know as soon as that happens. Also, whenever you add clam juice or any other ingredient, you have to do that. Now that we have officially lowered our heat to simmer, New England dish, right? Because you would have had dried pork on the high seas. And I just wanted to say on the high seas. And we're going to add our heavy whipping cream. And see, heavy whipping cream in there. And finally, we're going to add our half and half. Now I'm adding the 5 small, medium-ish Yukon Gold potatoes. Stir. It's hard to do this on a phone. Stir. And then we're going to cover it, and we're going to wait for 25 minutes. But there's an old challenge that when this used to be prepared out on the tip in the old whaling days, that the gentleman who would drink the brine of the prepared clams and be able to keep it down would be able to have the chowder that they would have afterwards for free. So I'm kind of wondering, should I partake of this challenge? Should I have the brine? My better judgment says yes. Yes, I should try the brine. And that is what I'm going to do this evening. That is my challenge for the night. I have about 10 minutes left before I incorporate the clam meat, which is fantastic, by the way, into the thickened chowder. And I'll let you know how that goes. And then we will see how the challenge ends up. So rock on. We have done it. We have created New England clam chowder, my friends. We have. Let's see how it's turned out. Still reducing a little bit, okay? Because we have incorporated the watery base of the brine, but nonetheless, it will incorporate. Reduce down a little bit. Yeah, here we are. Tell you what, I'll go sing a sea shanty or two. Back in the day, when I did my master's degree, I incorporated a sea shanty into my thesis. The final trawl. Indeed. Oh, right. The unfinished business. I'm a man of my word. I want to see if I get this for free. Bottoms up. I think I just died.